All right. Well, welcome into this first episode of Beyond the Three, featuring BJE. I'm Evan Baron. Got Jesse Merrick, Bryan Salmond here. You know, trying something new here. Got this whole podcast rolling, but giving our takes beyond the studio and all that. So
Good to have a little fun. Give some hot takes. It's
That's
like
what I'm talking
Spitfire
about.
on steroids, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
The mastermind Evan behind the whole thing. Let's make it happen, man.
So we'll get the ball rolling here, and we'll talk some Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay.
Obviously the Knights it's not been the prettiest. It hasn't been really the best for them. They've lost their last 2 games in overtime. Such heartbreaking losses. All right, Bryan. What's the missing answer? I know they got Columbus up tomorrow. What's going on right now?
How about this? So the Golden Knights are 8-5-2. They still picked up points in their past 2 games, even though they lost in overtime. When they got Nate Schmidt back, they got him back after 13 games. They had 8 wins. 20 games last year he missed. They had 8 wins. So the team is already doing better than they were last year. Last year they made it to the playoffs. At one point they were leading their division. At one point, they were the best team in the Western Conference. I think a lot of people are kind of just getting a little bit, they're getting too crazy and sad that the team is doing how they're doing, but they're not doing that bad, in my opinion, even though they've lost 2 games. The way they've lost has been bad, though.
Yeah, the way they lost has been bad, and it's also just things getting exposed for them, and they've gotten off to a great start so far this year. They scored, I think, 23 goals in the first period, which is great.
Yes.
But then in the second and third periods and overtime, they've scored only 23 total or 24 total.
Yeah,
so obviously that's a big drop off.
Yeah.
So that's where things are getting exposed. It seems like they kind of can't play with a lead.
No, yeah, I think I think you probably heard the sound. We all heard the sound about like Marchessault, they've been pulling back and they haven't kept the foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, and one soundbite that I keep going back to with him, and it was against the Sharks when they opened the season, or no, I think it was either when they opened the season or in the preseason. He said when they're up 3-1 or whatever it is, up by a lot of goals, it gets boring for them. And I think it was more so a jab at the Sharks, but that still to me was kind of telling because it's like.
No, you can
boring.
Completely tell.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I think the best example of that is when they played against Boston. Remember the second game of the season, they just blew out the Sharks in the 2 games that they played against them. And then they had Boston. They scored the 2 quick goals, I think it was, in the first period. And you can tell they're like, oh, man, this season's going to be easy. We're good. Boston's supposed to be really good, and we're kicking their butts. And then you could tell that they let up at that point. And that has been a theme this year.
Yeah, it really has. And it's like they said it all after the game. I mean, Schmidt, everyone to a T was like, you can't do that in this league. It's the NHL. It's not like it's college or something like that.
True.
You're playing against pros that are going to do their thing. And they're going to come back and beat you.
Yeah. Have you been to a game yet?
I have not. I need to. It's a little pricey for me right now. I just moved out here to Vegas, coming from a small town in Eugene. But no, I definitely want to make it out here. It's just nothing like it, as far as the show and all that before. But
you gotta get.
We don't really have hockey up in the Northwest, so I'm still kind of getting in the groove of things.
Yeah.
So
just
soon enough with Seattle, man.
Yeah, soon enough. But
you're the producer now, baby. We gotta get you to a game.
I know, man. Hook me up with those media passes, man. I know you guys got your sources, man.
We've got sources.
Yeah,
we can't reveal our sources, Evan.
Yeah. But I do want to go back with the Knights, though. It kind of, in my opinion. Maybe this is me, but I just think Fleury's not on top of his game.
Sacrilege.
What we've been really accustomed to with him being the guy to carry, this Knights team to the playoffs throughout that Stanley Cup run. Do you think, it's just kind of getting off to an early start, or do you think what's your guys' opinion on
What do you think about?
I think, no offense, but I think you're dead wrong, man.
Really?
Fleury's been one of the best goalies in the league to start.
I don't
the
know.
season.
He's given up quite a lot of goals recently.
A couple times he has, but the
It's his
saves he's
defense
been
in front of
making.
him.
Yeah, he's been making some incredible goals. Dude's been standing on his head nonstop, and
So
I
you're
think
saying it's more of a defensive thing?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think more than anything, especially with the fact again where you didn't have Nate Schmidt for a while, and then also Tuck being gone too. That still affects your defense, even though he's more of an offensive guy.
Your offense a lot of times is your defense.
Exactly, yeah. And Gallant always talks about their forecheck being on point and everything, and it hasn't been. And for them, when they don't have their forecheck on, it's going to put Fleury in a really bad spot too.
Yeah, I mean, entering that last game, Fleury had the most wins in the NHL.
Yeah.
He had the most starts in the NHL. So, I mean, and really, they'll tell you all the time, the players will tell you, Fleury, to this point of the season, has been the best player on their team by far.
Yeah.
Stop it with the. I'm just.
I just moved here, man. I'm just looking what I see from the eyes. So, all right. Well, let's get a score prediction tomorrow for Columbus. Do you guys think they're going to bounce back, or you think what's your guys' take?
I think,
on Columbus?
like back-to-back like that, you go into a hostile environment on the road, I heard, I don't know for sure, but I heard they got like cannons there when Columbus scores. I'm sure they don't want to hear those things, So I say Vegas wins. I think maybe like, I don't know, 3-2, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just gave a prediction like after we got done with the show tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard they heard this
You heard
already,
it? Yeah. I think they win 3-1.
Yeah.
Because Columbus isn't actually that. They're not very good.
I was going to say 3-1, but I was like, I feel like they're going to with 2 goals. I don't know.
Yeah, and for the most part, they respond when kind of their backs are against a wall in a sense.
Yeah.
And they still know, even though they've lost 2 games in overtime, they still picked up 2 points. And picking up the point is always key. They have 18 points right now. It's not like they're in last place. They're still better than a lot of the teams in their division.
Exactly. I think they're in 4th right now or something like that.
Exactly. They're tied with the Ducks, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
Which, not a great start, but not a terrible start either. It could be way worse.
it could be last year.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be last year. They're under 500.
Yeah. What you got, Ev? What do you think?
Well, you guys been talking up Fleury so much, and I think the team has definitely been itching to get back on the winning trail. So I'm gonna go with the 2-0 shutout tomorrow.
Okay.
Donuts.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking Fleury's gonna bounce back, and I think they're gonna want to take it to him. So we'll see. So tomorrow night the puck drops at 4 in the afternoon. So be sure to tune in. So
Let's get it.
we can switch from the ice to the hardwood. So we basketball tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A new head coach, so they got
That's his
Fort
guy.
Wayne.
That's his
Jesse, I know
his
you
older
were
brother.
you've been covering them.
I was there today.
relentlessly.
Like Bryan was saying, man,
Yeah.
I really do like Otzelberger. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, when he first got hired, people are like, they're expecting like some big name. Like, you guys have been terrible for the last couple years. Not the last couple years, but like for a long time.
A long time?
When have they been like a good team?
What's good?
Really compete in your conference tournament.
Well, they were in the
really
tournament.
compete,
They were in the
though.
tournament like 4 years ago.
Yeah. So okay, 4 years. That's still a decent amount of time, though.
But I'm just being devil's
No, yeah.
advocate
I know you
because
are, yeah.
UNLV has not been UNLV, the team that I loved as a kid. Like
Exactly.
watching
Oh
them,
yeah,
so-
I mean you're from the area, so you saw when they made those runs and all that.
Well, and I'm the old man, so like in the 90s, that
You
was my
remember that.
team.
Yeah,
That
and
was my team.
that's kind of what I'm getting at is that it's not that same team, not that same program anymore. So you're not going to get the big name coach. And I think Otzelberger, you got to cash in and get a guy that's like kind of the up and comer. Look what he did at South Dakota State, man. A great efficient offense, run and gun. That's going to get some butts in the seats out there at Thomas and Mack.
I can't dog him because I've heard nothing but good things about him.
Exactly. That's the other thing too, off the court.
Yeah, no, I've heard nothing but
Yeah.
good things about him. A few things. One, I have to say that they could have gotten a better coach if they wanted to, but UNLV is one of those programs, they don't want to spend money. So, like, they don't want to spend money on a coach, even though he's the highest paid, I think, in the Mountain West Conference.
He is. So, I mean, technically, per the conference, I think Desiree Reed-Francois said she wants to be in the upper third of the conference when she's paying these coaches, at least with the bigger sports.
But
she
I mean,
did it.
like for instance, they could have like years ago when they hired Marvin Menzies.
Yeah.
Like this program, as much as you may think that it doesn't have the cachet, it still is UNLV for basketball.
Yeah.
So like George Karl wanted to come here to coach, like, you know what I mean?
Which would have been dope, but
They didn't want him.
Yeah.
They didn't want, you know what I mean? So Rick Pitino, that was the name they were always throwing out there.
yeah, I remember hearing that when I first moved out here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited, though. I'm excited.
too.
And I talked to Curtis Terry today, a guy who played on the last team that went to the Sweet 16. And Kevin Kruger, Lon Kruger's son, is also one of the assistant coaches on the team. But Curtis was telling me, like, hey, man, I love Otzelberger's energy. He's got great energy. He's a great coach. As far as you can tell, he works hard. He thinks the team is going to do pretty well. So being that he knows, he played in the G League. He played overseas. He played with Lon Kruger.
Yeah.
He knows a good coach when he sees one. So, I am very. I think I'm hopeful that the team does well.
And I mean, for me, I just want to clarify too. For this season, I don't think they're going to be like crazy good this season. I think it's going to be like a 3-year thing for him. When he starts to get more of his recruits, I really do. I mean, it takes some time, man. You get your guys in.
Menzies didn't get 3 years.
No, I think Otzelberger will though. Like, look at the guys he's already got right now, but and the guys that he's trying to play with are not built for this system that he's running.
You
He's
mean
a
like
real post-heavy team right now.
Yeah, they have some.
gotta
They
know
have
your
some
guys,
size.
yeah.
You got to have
Yeah.
some size, but they don't have a whole lot of shooters. Like your guy, the one who's transferring from South Dakota State that has to sit out here.
Yeah, David Jenkins Jr. That kid, man, when he starts
Stroke
shooting,
it?
he's going to be a young Bryan Salmond out there just, you know?
He'd be stroking. That's what he'd be doing.
Yeah.
Who are some players to maybe, some players to watch out for this year that the fans don't really know about
I mean,
yet?
Bryan said my guy is David Jenkins Jr. I think his new guy is Elijah Mitru Long. Dude's got the rat tail.
He's got the rat
It's
tail. I
crazy.
love it. And Amari Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know about him, but I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah, no, he's a good. I mean, he came from Texas.
Yeah.
I remember reading up on him, and I think Amari Hardy is going to be one of those guys that's going to shock people. A freshman, he played a little bit.
Yeah.
He couldn't shoot all that well. He was good at going to the basket. He's kind of like the and one mixtape, just kind of doing so much crossing over and all that stuff. Last year, he ended up starting maybe 5, 6, 7 games into it. Mm-hmm. He improved his jump shot. He improved his passing. And this year, as you know, I asked him today, like something he's been working on. I think he's going to have a good season.
Yeah,
He's a lefty too.
Another thing with him too, in the exhibition game, he was dishing it out a lot. I think he had double-digit assists, if I remember right. Granted, the exhibition was at West Coast Baptist or some, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But but I mean, he was dishing it big time, and he actually came off the bench, which I think will be kind of.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did, and that's a lot of the talk has been that Amari's going to come off the bench. He'll be the first guy, obviously, off the bench, but that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a slap in the face.
Yeah, well, because he's got, I'm blanking on the kid's name, but he was the leading scorer in that exhibition game. He's an Australian kid, and he was just draining it from three. So I think it's going to be him and Mitru Long that are kind of the two guards that are leading the way there. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm. So should be an interesting one. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. tomorrow, so
Yeah.
be sure to make it out there.
Bryan will be there live, too.
Yes.
So give them. So maybe let's talk a little bit of Oakland Raiders. Recapping the NFL big Sunday yesterday.
First of all, who thought the Raiders would be 4-4 right now?
I mean, I predicted that they'd go even on the year, like they'd go 500. Yeah. So I said 8-8.
I didn't think they're going to make much progression from. Yeah. I just think. I mean, those moves that Richard made were controversial, but I mean, he's got his guy. Derek Carr seems to be responding well. Mm-hmm. Tyrell Williams, stepping up.
Yeah, when he's been healthy, he's been good.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I mean to cut you off.
Just saying, they were finally back home after being on the road for so long, being in London.
49 days, 48 days.
Finally in the black hole,
15th.
Yeah. So they came out with a 31-24 win over the Detroit Lions. So. What's your guys' thoughts? Is this going to finally carry on? Can they get over the hump of being now that they're 4-4?
I think so, man. Yeah. I thought the game with Detroit would be like a telling game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because Detroit's not they're not a slouch.
They're not the Detroit of old.
No. I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's a very capable quarterback.
Yeah.
He always goes for a ton of yards. He wins games that he's not supposed to win. Mm-hmm. And then I guess that's his MO. He loses games that he should win.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went back home. John Gruden, it's been funny. Like, he has been complaining, like, so sarcastic the entire the entire road trip. He's like, man, how about, like, there's going to be some guys that don't even know, they haven't really played in Oakland, Alameda
County.
County.
What the black hole's about, all that stuff. Like,
They played 8 games this year. He's like, some guys don't even know what it's like to play at home.
Yeah, it's crazy. And kind of to piggyback off of your thing with the fact of, like, beating the Lions, but just really where they're at right now. Yeah. Look at how many young guys they've done it with that are actually contributing.
This is true.
Like, so far, I mean, again, they're 4-4, so, like, let's not, like, overreact. No, but like, what they've done in terms of, like, who they've hit on in the draft, it was a solid draft, man.
Yeah.
Solid TV guy, just hitting his home runs there.
He really did. So. And, like, the thing, I pulled up their schedule. Of the teams that they've got for the remaining of the season, for the rest of the season, only one of them has a winning record. It's
Kansas
KC.
City.
But they've got, listen to this one, they got the Chargers, who, again, that's kind of a toss-up. They just beat the tires off of Green Bay. So they got to play them twice.
Yeah.
But they've got the Bengals after that, the Jets, then they go to KC, Titans, Jags, at Chargers, at Broncos. I mean, I could see these guys mess around and get into the playoffs now. Like,
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of winnable games in there.
There are a lot of winnable games. And the thing is, like I know, you got to win the games that you're supposed to win if you're going to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Like the Bengals, you can't lose to the Bengals, you can't lose to the Jets. I don't care if you're playing at home, if you're playing on the road, you got to win those games. Mm-hmm. And you have to split with the Chargers.
Yeah,
you can't lose to the Chargers at home.
Yeah.
So it's kind of shocking, honestly.
That's the thing, like going through it, you split with the Chargers, and then you lose to KC, let's just say.
Yeah.
The rest of those, they should win the rest of those games. That's a lot of wins down the stretch.
I know. That's what, like four wins?
Let's see.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6 wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 10 and 6.
Could you imagine, like, who said that they would do this? The only guy that I know of in terms of, like, big time media was Louis Riddick, that was on the Raiders from the get-go.
He has been. You're absolutely right. He absolutely has been.
Which he's good. I really like Louis Riddick.
No, me too. He's good. Yeah, If you ever see this, come on the show. Louis.
Yeah, for real. Get out here,
exposure a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's crazy too about like Darren Waller, like Josh Jacobs, rookies like that. Like you're saying that
Jacobs
stepped
balling
out of nowhere. Maybe Jacobs was a first-round draft pick, but Waller, man, that guy is just.
Those are two guys I was kind of high on, just because in Hard Knocks.
Waller, you were?
Yeah, you didn't really see. Yeah, because you didn't really see Waller much in Hard Knocks. I think they were trying to kind of hide him, so that people weren't expecting it. And in between it and everything, when we were at practice and stuff for training camp, that's all they were talking about was Waller and how great of an athlete he was. Yeah, all this stuff. Like,
to me, he came out of nowhere. I don't remember hearing anything about him. But
yeah. When we were down there, a lot of guys were kind of talking about him, but like they were saying, people aren't talking about him is what they were saying. So I kind of saw that coming.
Okay.
I drafted him a couple fantasy leagues.
Did you really?
I did.
So he
and
knew
it's
from
worked
day
out.
one,
I was about to say, I saw that coming. Like, sure you drafted him, so I guess you did.
I did.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs too. Roll Tide, covered him in college. So.
Yeah. Well, I got Tyrell, so I honestly didn't know whether I didn't think he'd do as well as he has done when he was healthy.
Well, especially without AB too.
Yeah.
Because I thought without AB, he's going to be a number 1 receiver. There's no way they're going to put all the coverage on him.
But that's another one where the Raiders hit on it. They targeted him before they even knew AB was in a possibility for them.
They got him first.
Yeah. They were thinking he was going to be their number 1 guy regardless.
But you know how it is. Like the number 1 guy, to me, like the number 1 guy that comes from being a number 2 with another big receiver, usually they fall flat on their face.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought he was, but yeah, he shut me the heck up because he's been balling. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're second in the AFC West right now. I think that Mahomes injury just changes I know he's going to be back soon, but
I think he's got, 1, 2, 3,
quarterback.
4 weeks. Yeah. He's got 4 weeks to come back for the Raiders. He'll be fine.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But
he's supposed to come back in like 2 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah. They were even this week was still kind of up in the air. Everybody knew he was going to miss, but they were all saying we'll see.
Yeah, well, they wanted him to play against Green Bay a few weeks ago too, and they're going to try to rush him back. But I think they're really taking his time. He's the prodigy of that franchise.
You have to,
so
man.
You can't.
They got a weak division, so they're like, whatever, we can let them rest. We got the Chargers chasing us. We got the Raiders, really.
Yeah, you let Matt Moore do his thing. They stole a win against the Vikings.
He slinged it a little bit, against the Vikings.
So.
Yeah, he's a Northwest guy, Oregon State.
Yeah, so lit it up a little bit. So but John Gruden actually had a controversial soundbite though that you ran in a newscast because the Raiders are going to be playing on Thursday Night Football. He despises the whole spiel, says it should not happen. Nobody's going to listen to him at all, but he's going to still state his opinion. So what's your guys' thoughts on Thursday
John
Night
Gruden's
Football?
always going to state his opinion, that's for sure.
I love Grumpy Gruden.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to coin that.
I'm here for it.
Grumpy Gruden. He's like, man, I hate Thursdays.
Yeah.
I hate Thursdays. But him complaining about Thursday Night Football right after every press conference, he would get a little slight in there. It's like, oh, man, it's we're going home is going to be like a foreign experience. We're used to playing on foreign soil.
Yeah.
Taking a shot at, 5 weeks in a row is a long time, plus a bye-in there. So, that's a long time to be on the road.
It is.
And then have a Thursday night game after your first home game back.
It's crazy.
Hey, good job. You guys
now play on Thursday.
Exactly. You get 4 days to prepare for a team.
It's crazy. I don't know. We're obviously a little more plugged into the Raiders because they're coming here and everything. But do you remember either one of you guys a team being this screwed by their schedule?
No.
It's crazy. You would think. I know Oakland hasn't exactly been the greatest host to them in recent years, but you would think the NFL would kind of throw them a bone and be like, hey,
really?
Here you go, fans. That's kind of crazy to me.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's all bad. How in your last season in Oakland, California, you make one of the home games the one game in London?
And they finish on the road the last 2 weeks of the season. How is the last game of the season not in Oakland? That to me is the biggest.
2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
that's the biggest middle
Oakland
finger from the
dirty,
NFL if I've ever seen it, man. It's crazy.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. That's how you're going to do it?
Yeah. It's almost as bad as that stadium.
Yes, almost. Yeah.
Oakland
Boy,
Alameda County
finally.
Stadium is, oh my goodness,
Gosh.
Coliseum is horrible.
Yeah, for those of you guys at home, like when we were at the first preseason game out there, we did like the press conference was in the A's batting cage, like.
Literally in the batting cage.
And then the media room, not the press box, but like the media room where they have us all set up,
Was
was
a weight
the weight
room.
room. Like, and it was like rusty and like all this stuff. Like it was bad. And like the Raiders, one of the most like prestigious
Yes.
teams in the NFL, one of the
Yes.
original 8 of the AFL.
Yes.
Like. They literally, their logos are like on tarps covering up the A's stuff in like through the tunnels and all that stuff. And it's like, I go into their locker room afterwards, and I'd heard the stories, but like going into the locker room afterwards, their locker room was worse than my high school locker room. Like,
Terrible.
it's crazy.
So bad.
crazy.
Somebody told me, like even in the press box upstairs,
Yeah.
that they found like a dead rat. Is
Yeah.
that you that
Oh
told
my
me that?
God.
So I think
Wow.
one of the other media guys might have mentioned it, but I looked it up afterwards, and there's like full-on articles on all this stuff and like blogs, all these things. Like that's a real deal. Yeah.
It's so terrible. And I remember I went to Oakland A's games as a kid. It's the same stadium from 8 million years ago. I remember doing like a lead-in on the air, and I tickled myself when I wrote it because I thought I was super clever. I was like, man, the A's play on the best baseball field in the National Football League. And the fact that- that's
Yeah.
really, it's
No, it's
2019 and they're playing on a baseball field.
Wow.
On a baseball field, like you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I heard
That's
some people
for sure.
joking that when they come here, they should paint a baseball field on the.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. So gosh.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's so we'll see how it goes. We got Chargers on Thursday Night Football. So
Yeah. Who do
Yeah.
you think wins that?
Oh, I think Oakland does. I think I've obviously
5-4.
I just think being at home is good, but Chargers are just so hit or miss this year. You know, Melvin Gordon being holding out that long
Yeah.
hasn't
Fumbling
really
on the 1 yard
done his-
line.
Yeah, hasn't really got his groove. Phillip Rivers, I feel like hasn't lost. He doesn't have that that touch on his throw like I've seen before. I just feel like he's not the same guy. And then we'll see. I mean, they did handle Green Bay, but I think the Raiders
They
got a
beat
lot
the
of momentum
snot out
right
of
now.
They did.
Is Antonio Gates playing or is he retired?
He's retired.
He retired?
I think. Yeah. I'm like
He's
99.
still
I
listed
mean,
on the
I thought he came
he's
back.
listed on the
I'll
roster,
be honest.
right?
I haven't even watched the Chargers game.
No,
this
me
year,
neither,
so
but
I got a lot
I-
of Sundays I got to work and run around, so I don't get to watch as much as I wish.
And let's be honest. The Chargers are boring. To me, they're
Yeah,
boring.
yeah.
Bosa's good.
No, Bosa's a freak.
He's a monster.
His brother's even
Is killing
freakier.
it. But they're so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
Keenan
love
Allen-
you love football though, but
No, I mean I'll still watch a Chargers game
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I got the time, but
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, let's watch some Chargers, like. Which, like, on that note, just sorry to go things off
Oh,
topic.
you're all
Evan, I know
good.
you
No,
got some stuff.
all
I read
good.
an article tonight on the Athletic, really interesting one, talking about the NFL over in England and all that stuff, and that there's been some real discussions about moving the Chargers to England.
I've heard I had heard those kind of rumblings
Yeah.
before about a team
It's kind of crazy.
relocating and to have their home game being because I mean they have a team there every week.
Yeah, logistically it'd be kind of a mess, but like
Yeah.
I was reading it and I'm sorry I can't remember who wrote it, but hop on there and check it out if you can. But like
They'd have to
real
put them in
interesting stats in there about the amount of fans out there. I think I could be wrong because I'm going off and just trying to guess on this one, but I think he said it was 5 million NFL fans in the UK and 4 million of them were quote unquote like avid NFL fans.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I mean, you go there, you got a whole country to yourself.
Yeah.
Craziness.
See,
They
that
would have-
travel is so long though.
Yeah.
It'd be so brutal.
You'd have to
but-
mess with some stuff, or like have them do a couple games on the road at a time, and then
Think
Think about
Sure.
they're
this though, man. The Raiders played a game over there.
Exactly.
And the travel for them is just the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would have to put them in like the NFC or put them in the whatever with
There
the
was
Dolphins
talk,
and the
yeah.
Jets.
So there was talk of having the Texans move to the AFC West
That would
and
be-
have the Chargers move to the AFC South, or possibly move.
AFC South would be the perfect one.
move the Dolphins. Like it'd be like a three-way swap with Dolphins involved in it and all that stuff. But
Yeah, they'd have to get over there because
Mm-hmm.
they can't. They'd have to be on the East Coast for their division. Their division
Yeah.
can't be all the way on the West Coast. That's another 5 hours
Exactly,
flight.
yeah.
That would be horrendous.
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then I was thinking maybe we talk a little UFC. Very,
It's right in the
very
wheelhouse.
big
Yeah.
upset for Nate Diaz going down in the third round. I mean, thought he was talking all that smack about him being the I can't say. Yeah.
Baddest mother. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. But
How about
how'd it go
this?
down?
And you guys probably saw this or whatever, that they played the UFC main
Yeah.
event inside of the Canelo, like in the arena at the MGM Grand Garden.
I mean, you were there, so like before they threw it on, what was that like? Were people kind of like, because the whole wait? I saw Canelo and Kovalev both sitting on their couches, like.
So this is what happened. Like going into the fight, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, said that they would delay the main event till after the UFC main event was done, for whatever reason, right? So he already committed to doing that.
Yeah.
But then the UFC main event, it was late.
Started real late.
Yeah, it started really, really late. And the fight, the fight that was not the co-main event of boxing, but the fight that was before the main event, the dude knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah.
So it was like a perfect storm. So I was actually sitting in the media room watching the UFC fights on someone's laptop. So it's like, okay, so kind of watching it because I wanted to see the fight. And the co-main, I kind of wanted to see that too.
Yeah.
And then someone that got a text from somebody inside the arena was like, they're playing the
it
fight
out there.
inside the arena.
Yeah.
And we were all like in the media room like, there's no way. There's no way. That's absurd.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. And then someone else got a text, well, what the hell? So I went in there, I actually shot some video and tweeted it out and everything
Yeah.
else. It still boggles my
It's
mind.
crazy. I was at the Knights game, and me and one of the other people from one of the stations out here were both looking on Twitter at it. We're like, nah, this isn't real life.
That can't be
And we're
right.
like, wow, they really did it. Which, I mean, to me, I'm like, hey, that's kind of genius.
It's actually smart.
You know?
Yeah. Because people actually, they wanted to see that fight.
Yeah.
So they put it on in there.
It was one of those deals, people in their seats were just like,
But it was, you can see,
Like-
I was like that. I
Yeah.
went into the arena to go watch it.
yeah.
So it was cool to watch it in there. And then they started the fight and everything else. The atmosphere was still pretty good in there.
Yeah.
But Nate Diaz, man, he got handled.
He did. I mean, Masvidal is a freaking bulldog,
He's a
man.
monster.
Yeah, he
Did
really
you hear
is.
he called out Canelo?
I
Yeah, I
did.
know.
I did. I was
That
gonna
would
talk
be
about
something.
That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He said he learned from like from the Mayweather and McGregor
fight.
that like a lot of boxers can't really handle some of the things that they throw on because it's so unorthodox or whatever. I don't know if it's true. I don't know, whatever. But I mean,
It's BS,
Yeah.
but I love it.
yeah,
I mean, he's McGregor-esque in which that he can carry a promotion. He can talk a lot of trash.
Yeah, yeah.
To which Canelo does not talk trash.
nah,
He's Cuban, so he speaks Spanish. He knows Spanish. So I mean, he can
be
actually.
interesting.
Man, that
Yeah.
would be. And Canelo's like the cash cow of boxing.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great. But
I'd love to see it
with
here
all
in Vegas. I'd love to see it.
Oh
though.
my God, it'd have to
Yeah.
be in Vegas.
Yeah, gotta be out here.
With that being said, though, Dana White does not like De La Hoya.
Oh really? I
Oh
didn't
my
know that.
God! But there was like leading up to the fight.
Mm-hmm.
There, you can go on YouTube and watch the UFC's page or whatever, and him talking about how De La Hoya's a clown and that guy's an idiot, and like that's why nobody likes him. And I mean,
Yeah,
Dana was
yeah.
going in. He's like, I used to promote his fights. Like he used to like De La. He's like, I love Canelo. I respect him. You know, he gave all the respect to everyone else.
Yeah.
He's like, De La Hoya, man, I can't stand that
Not
guy. Blah
feeling
blah
him.
blah. I was like, wow.
Damn.
Dang.
So that's who he'd have to do business with, though, if
Yeah,
he had to
nah.
make that
Well,
fight.
Dana's not a guy you want to mess with.
He keeps it 1,000.
He
whole
really
show,
does.
yeah.
I respect the heck out of him for that. Like that's crazy. I love listening to him talk because he just says it how it is. Like you know.
Got some Dana White stories for you, my man.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Dana's a good dude, man.
We gotta Dana, if you're listening to this, man, we gotta get a tour of your office. I saw it on Barstool and it looked sick.
Oh,
Yeah, I talked to you like it happened a long time ago. I talked to you about it, but like
Yeah.
I wanna see that thing.
That would be amazing.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to think whether. Okay, yeah. I haven't been in this new office.
Yeah, no, it's nice. He's got some crazy stuff in there. Story behind like every piece that's in there. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's all.
Yeah.
We need to get one. Dana,
Yeah,
come
come
on,
on,
make
man.
it happen. You gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I got for you guys.
Oh,
got anything?
man.
You
There
guys
was,
got?
I don't know, if we got some more time, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Fire
go.
Yeah,
away.
yeah. With Florida State, with Billy Taggart
Oh,
getting fired.
God.
Brian and I
Here
were
we
talking
go.
about
Here we
this
go.
when it happened. Brian, first, before I go and botch whatever the heck it is your feeling is on this, what is your feeling on not necessarily whose fault it is between Jimbo Fisher and Taggart, or like how bad the program was? I mean, explain to the people your side of it before I just tear you down here.
Before this is the guy who's done research and all this,
Hey,
to tear me
you
down.
know?
Okay, so I need to look this up on my phone as you're going through all this. No, Florida State.
Yeah.
Right now, the program is as low as it's ever been.
Oh yeah.
and all this full disclosure, like that I went to Florida State for a year.
Yeah.
So like I'm a huge fan of Florida State.
Which is exactly why I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, and basically the debate is that you said that Florida State has been bad for a long time.
For a pretty decent amount of time, yeah.
So I don't know what defines a long time. 5 years define a long time?
Yeah, I think 5 years is a decent amount of time. For a program like that, 5 years is a long time. If that happens at Alabama, at Texas, remember people were going crazy when it happened at Texas, how bad they were.
They fired?
They fired Mac.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But
happens at Ohio State, at Michigan, they lose a couple games, the world is ending every single week.
Yes.
Like,
see, you have to compare apples to apples,
yeah.
right? So, all right, if you're talking about any of these programs, like Alabama was terrible before Nick Saban got there,
yeah.
right? And they tried to hire a couple of coaches. They tried to hire the guy from Washington State. They tried to hire, I think Shula was there for a little bit. So, I mean, they were terrible. They got Saban. They got Saban, a guy whom had already had a national championship. He coached in the NFL.
Exactly.
Ohio State they got Harbaugh. The guy's been coaching the Super Bowl. He did really, really well in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Like Taggart, like his credentials were terrible going in.
But I mean, he had been at programs that were in the dumps, and he helped kind of to revive them, So that was like his MO.
Just one.
Not two. USF and then.
Don't say Oregon, because Oregon.
No, not Oregon. There was one other one. I'm blanking on what it was now. Not Louisville. Where was he? Oh,
Western
man.
Kentucky. I think.
Yeah, Western Kentucky. He kind of, and for them, it's all relative. For them, he took them out of the dumps.
Okay. So, so he took over a program that Jimbo Fisher left, and I think your contention was that he left the cupboard pretty bare.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. Like, there were athletes there. There's no denying that. I mean, it's Florida State. No matter how terrible they are, they're going to have athletes, just like Miami or schools like that.
It was terrible too.
Yeah, which I mean, I gotta say, I'm a Gators fan, so I'm happy about all that. But anyway,
they were terrible 2 or 3 years ago.
No, they were. But
lost
now,
to a D1 too.
But now they're not.
FBS,
FCS.
Man, I'm never gonna know what that is.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They change it like every couple of years.
Yeah,
FCS.
Okay.
But anyway, to my point, I wrote some of this stuff down just so I could get it right.
Okay, good.
In Fisher's last 3 seasons at FSU, this was after winning the national championship and then going back to the college football playoff.
They did, yes.
Where they got blown out by Oregon, 39 points.
Yes. With Jameis Winston as their quarterback.
Yes, with Jameis Winston as their quarterback.
And when was that?
This was the years, I want to say 2015.
Okay.
No, I could be wrong on my years here. But he had 25 wins in 37 games in his last 3 seasons there. So that amounts to a 25-12 record. At a school like Florida State,
that's not great.
Not great at
Jimbo
all.
Fisher did?
That's terrible. Jimbo Fisher did. He also went 14-10 in the ACC.
The last 2 years or something like that?
The last 3 years. Prior to that, he was 34-6 in the ACC in his first 5 seasons. I mean, that's crazy. On top of that, I was reading this article talking about all the academic issues they had. They were the worst academic Power 5 school. All kinds of non-accountability and all this stuff. Specifically, they mentioned Jameis and all this stuff too. Which again, it's going to stand out because Jameis. But I think a lot of the people they were interviewing,
he was an idiot. Well,
there's no denying that. But a lot of people they interviewed seem to be afraid to name players, which I totally get. You don't want to trash a lot of players. Jameis is an easy one to go after.
Yeah.
But they kind of just said that it bled through the whole program, and it was just a cesspool at that point. And there was a lot of sources and a lot of people, they didn't name them exactly, but former assistants, players, things like that.
Okay.
Talking about how much of a mess it was. But on top of all that too, aside from Jameis, what quarterback did Jimbo ever hit on?
He had
Christian Ponder and EJ Manuel.
Well,
those are both Bowden's recruits.
They were EJ Manuel too.
Yeah.
I don't remember who
Other
came.
than that,
I don't remember who
Jacob
came second.
Coker, who left and won a national championship with Alabama. And now on this article I was reading, there's a list of I should have wrote the names down. It almost looks like the list of Browns quarterbacks, of guys that either were terrible for Florida State and transferred, or didn't even play a snap.
So is Jimbo Fisher supposed to be the quarterback whisperer?
Yeah.
Is that his thing?
And he didn't hit on a lot of those guys.
So how long was he at Florida State?
I want to say 8 seasons.
8 seasons?
But as a head coach, he was obviously OC, assistant coach, all that stuff.
So would you consider one Heisman Trophy winner in a national championship in 8 seasons a failure?
It depends.
I don't think I would.
No, because if you look at it in college football, how many coaches can you say that are actively coaching with a national championship? There's not many of them.
Yeah. So to say that he didn't hit on any quarterbacks, if you have one quarterback that wins a national championship and a Heisman Trophy, I think that's
That's great, but in terms of what he's done to that program, I mean, he's taken him into the dump. For you got to be mad about what he did to him. I mean,
I don't know. For me, I'm happy that he won a national championship. He actually revived the program because when Bowden was there, honestly, at the end of his run, the program was going down.
But it still didn't reach those depths.
Well, they
not as bad as some of this stuff, man.
Well, I mean, when I was there, it was a free shoes university. They went through that kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably remember that, but like guys getting free shoes and
That's
being
called
suspended.
Every D1 university
Of course
in the country, but
Of course it is. Of course it is.
yeah.
I'd love to say that I think Jimbo Fisher did a horrible job at Florida State, but I thought he did a very good job, like building the program back up to national prominence.
Yeah.
Although I would agree with you in the fact that the program wasn't where it should have been when he left.
And the question I kind of brought about on Twitter when all this happened, and I think this is what kind of started our discussion about it, was like, that's a premier job in college football, but
yes.
who the hell wants that job?
Everybody.
Lane Kiffin said he does, but Lane Kiffin's crazy.
Do not hire Lane Kiffin. Florida State, do not hire.
I don't think they should.
No,
but I think
are you kidding me?
I like Lane Kiffin. I think he's entertaining. I think it's great.
Are you kidding me?
But I don't think they should hire
Do
him
you
for
hire
that job.
an entertaining coach or one that can coach?
I mean, look what he's done at FAU.
What has he
He's been
done?
cashing those recruits, man.
Yeah.
What has he done at FAU?
He's done well. He had their.
You hear his voice that high?
I didn't
That
look at
means
that. No. He's had some of their
Wow,
best.
how
No, he's had some of their best seasons that they've had.
If only.
You could look this up.
Yeah, if only there was like
yeah. Go ahead and look it
If
up.
there's only a way that we could actually find out.
Yeah. Evan, in the meantime, what's your take on this whole discussion that we've had here?
I will say though, I was in Eugene for
Yeah.
Willie Taggart's first year,
Yeah.
and I know it was kind of a little bit of a rebuild, but I didn't think he was the best play caller in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I thought he just got the best assistants, and that's what kind of helped revive him.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Man,
there for
Oregon's
1
got
year?
the last laugh now, man, with Cristobal.
They really
They're
do.
really killing
No,
it now. I mean,
Cristobal's a
everybody.
beast.
I remember being in Eugene.
Yeah.
Everybody was just going crazy, like
Yeah.
when Willie Taggart just decided to bolt like that.
Yeah, they're mad.
But luckily, all the players, they all signed a petition demanding athletic director Rob Mullins to have Cristobal be their guy.
Oh, okay.
And so Roland Mullins, because there are a lot of outside names. Have
Yeah.
Uncle Phil Knight just bring in the biggest name,
Bring
and
back
kinda
Chip.
take over.
Yeah,
But
gosh.
no, I mean Cristobal, you see it. He's got the personality. He worked under Nick Saban when he was an assistant, so he knows how to coach. He reached out to Saban as well to get some advice, and he's just all
killing
about
it, huh?
progression.
Yeah.
He's got what kept he also kept those assistants intact too, and so.
Well, the big
Yeah.
thing with him, and because that's what I was going to ask, like what the reception was there. So they obviously
They were all pissed, and we were all like, we didn't really know what to expect from Cristobal, because he was just an offensive line coach. He never really had head coaching experience,
His big thing was
Yeah.
that he was like one of the best recruiters in the
Yeah,
country at the time.
so-
That was why he had so much respect. Like kids love him. Like
Yeah.
when he was at Alabama, that was like everyone.
When I was doing my sports show and watching his sound bites, like I'd want to play for that guy,
yeah.
man. Like he's just
fires you up.
He's
fires
like
me
the
up.
coach at LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of passion. He really knows how to build a program all the way up, And he just got rid of Jim Leavitt too last year, who was a highly profiled defensive coach. Brought in his own guy, Andy Avalos from Boise State, and you've seen the progression Oregon's made already in
The
just
best
1
team in
year,
the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think it's funny now because Oregon was flipping out, and now they're kind of got the last laugh. So.
I mean, you don't blame Taggart for leaving though.
Oh no! I mean,
That
he
was a
said
dream
he
job.
told he's
Yeah.
from Florida.
Yeah.
Florida State. He grew up as a Florida State fan. I think he told his like family too. He's like Florida State's home to him. So like I heard though he loved Eugene. It's a great, obviously when you have Phil Knight.
yeah.
Phil Knight is your guy.
How could you not?
And it's a tough situation to leave, but man, to leave after 1 year, obviously for that job. I mean, that's a lot of pressure to go in there, and
It is.
a lot of expectations. So
He did not meet them.
Nah. 9-12.
He did not
His
meet
record
them at
there,
all.
man.
Yeah.
I feel for the guy though. I
Me
mean,
too.
because I like Willie Taggart.
He
but
seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, I bet. And like dream job, man. You go there like thinking like, all right, I'm gonna be the guy to like pull him out of this, and it just like blew up in front of his face. And,
What are they, 4-5 right now?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that
What's that buyout now too? Is like
Oh, I'm not sure.
it's like
20 million or
20
something
million,
crazy like that. They
yeah.
raised money, like boosters or outside
Yeah.
source raised money, but they didn't raise money because
Man.
they said that they didn't do it, but
You can pay me $20 million to not go. I'm fine with that. I will go sit at home.
Man, I'll go hang out beyond the 3.
Yeah, exactly.
we gotta get Willie to come on now that he's kind of
Yes, you got some time, dude. Come on now.
Fly to Vegas, Willie. So.
Yeah, you can furnish. He can pay for the show too.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sponsorship courtesy of Willie Taggart.
There we go. All right, well, I think that does it for the first episode of Beyond
Yeah.
the 3 featuring BJE. That was pretty successful, you know.
Yeah,
Honestly,
not bad.
we're gonna grow from it, you know,
Good
and
work.
yeah, feel free to spread the word, you know. We're gonna get it. This is just only the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, get some cool guests down the road and really want to take this thing to the next level, you know.
Well,
So-
I like it.
I mean, for the people out there, for any of you guys that do see this, like, if you like it, let us know. If you think it sucks, let us know. Like, hit us up
Any
on Twitter.
feedback,
Like,
we'll appreciate it.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We want to get it. So
Yeah.
We're posting this baby and putting it out.
yeah.
There we go.
there
Do
we
it.
go, baby. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back here next week, right here at the desk.
Beyond the 3.
Let's go.